Hey y'all, how would you like to have an extra 465,000 tax-free dollars in retirement? In today's video, I'm going to walk you through an often misunderstood and misused savings vehicle, the health savings account. I'll discuss what an HSA is, what you need to do to contribute, and how to maximize it to ensure you're not missing out on any tax-free money. So what is an HSA? Well, they were first enacted in 2003 as a part of high deductible savings plans. This was an effort to help give the consumer more control over their health care decisions. So, if you're enrolled in a high deductible plan, you may be able to contribute to a health savings account. Now, these contributions to the account are all tax free. And when you go to withdraw the money, as long as it's for medical expenses, you get to take the money out tax free as well. Now, oftentimes, HSAs get confused with FSAs or flexible spending accounts in the sense that if you don't use the money in a given year, that you're required to take the money out. That's one big difference that HSAs have. You can leave the money in there and let it roll over year to year. And as the account balance grows, you can also invest those dollars and allow them to grow tax deferred. So this makes it the only triple tax-free investment account available. You're able to put the money in before taxes. You're able to let the account balance grow and invest it similar to how you would a 401k, and then take the money out tax-free as long as it's for medical expenses. Now, if you get all the way to age 65 and you haven't used up that money for medical expenses, or you just need to access it otherwise, it operates much like an IRA where all the withdrawals are just taxable. One of the big pieces of pushback that I often get when I propose choosing the high deductible plan and accessing an HSA is that they're going to have to pay more out of pocket for their general doctor's visits and things of that nature as opposed to a simple copay. So I want to walk through an example that kind of shows you the difference between the high deductible as well as the PPO. Now, in this example, we're using plan information from Amazon from a couple years ago, but it still illustrates the power of the high deductible plan within HSA versus the PPO. So in this example, a PPO plan has a $477 a month premium, which comes out to be about $5,700 a year. If we compare that to the high deductible plan, the monthly premiums are only $374 a month, or about $1,200 a year less. Another benefit that a lot of companies also offer is that they will contribute to the HSA on your behalf, somewhat as an incentive to choose that plan. So in Amazon's case, they're giving $1,500 to their employee if they choose that HSA plan. That goes directly into the HSA. As a family, you're able to contribute $8,300 a year in 2024. So we do have to take the $1,500 that Amazon put in there off, so we can still contribute $6,800, which if we're making around $200,000 of taxable income, that puts us in the 22% tax bracket, which would be a savings of about $1,500. So between the contribution from the employer, the tax savings, and the premium savings, you're saving about $4,200 by choosing the HSA plan over the PPO. Now, again, going back to one of the major differences is you do have a higher deductible than if you choose the PPO plan. So for this PPO plan, it has a family deductible of $900 a year, which the individual deductible is $300 per person. But it also has copay. So when you go to the doctor, you pay the first $75 of that. Whereas on the high deductible plan, it has a family deductible of $4,500 with an individual deductible of $1,500 per person. There are no copays, so you pay the full bill up until you reach each of those deductibles. Each person has their own deductible, meaning that that person will only have to pay $1,500, and as soon as the family as a whole reaches $4,500, then they'll no longer be subject to that deductible, and co-insurance will step in. In this example, co-insurance on both plans is 10%. So if you're a family that uses your health insurance pretty regularly and you expect to hit your deductible every given year, well, if you stay at about that level, you still save $600 a year by choosing the high deductible plan with the HSA, considering that the deductible difference for the family is only $600. Now, your individual situation might look a little bit different, so it is important during open enrollment to look at your specific plan details and consider what type of usage your family typically has in a given year. So that looks at really the difference on a individual year basis on whether or not it's going to be more expensive or cheaper to choose the high deductible plan. But one of the big benefits to the HSA again is the fact that we're able to invest those dollars over time. So in any year that we don't use that HSA balance, you can invest it much like you do your 401k. Some plans have minimum balances that you have to keep in that plan and may restrict you to investment options that they provide. But a lot of them give you access to platforms such as Fidelity or Schwab to where you can choose pretty much any investment that you want. Now, as a bonus tip, you're also not required to keep your dollars inside your HSA through work. You can actually roll that out to any other HSA. And as a secondary tip, you can also contribute outside of your payroll, unlike your 401k contributions. This is a big benefit if maybe in a given year you didn't fully max it out throughout the year. You can go back all the way up until tax time and contribute to make sure that you don't lose out on that annual savings. Earlier we were talking about creating tax-free savings in retirement. Now, one of the biggest ways that I often see HSAs misused is that even if somebody is bought into the idea of the high deductible plan and contributing to the HSA, they're using it every single year for all of their different expenses. Well, I want to give you a big tip on to stop doing that. Leave the money in the plan. Don't take it out every single year. Assuming that you have a healthy emergency savings fund of usually between 3 and 6 months worth of expenses, then you should have the ability to pay most, if not all, of your medical expenses out of pocket in a given year and allow your money to stay in the HSA. What this does is it allows your balance to be invested and grow over time. If we make the annual family contribution of $8,300 a year, and we invest that in the S&P 500, which has historically grown at 9.8%, then in 20 years, you will have nearly $500,000 set aside in your HSA, all completely tax-free. Now, one of the big ways to make sure that you have the most tax-free money in retirement is to save all the receipts of those out-of-pocket medical expenses that you have every year. By setting those aside, we can go down in retirement, add those up, and make withdrawals tax-free for those medical expenses even after the year that they were incurred. So say you had $200,000 worth of bills over that 20-year period. Well, once you get to retirement, or really at any point, you can then take that receipt if you need the money and don't want to pay a higher tax rate and make that withdrawal still tax-free. This has allowed your money to stay in the account, be invested, and grow over time. So that truly is the biggest benefit of the HSA, is allowing the money to sit in the account, invest it, and grow tax-free. So I hope through this video you've seen the potential power of investing in an HSA to grow tax-free dollars. And at next open enrollment, dive in, look at your plan, make sure it fits for your family, and consider funding the HSA. As you look to fund it, also make sure that you're maxing it out every year. So for 2024, The individual maximum contribution is $4,150. The family contribution is $8,300. And if you're over age 55, you can contribute an additional $1,000 catch-up. And this actually goes for both spouses. So if you and your spouse are both over age 55, but you're the one that's covered, your spouse can also set up a second HSA in their name and make that spousal contribution of $1,000 for the catch-up. Also, remember to save your receipts and keep that balance invested over time. And if your plan doesn't offer you good investment options, take a look out there, see what other HSAs are available, and see if there's one that provides you the investment options you need for your financial plan. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video and found it valuable. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, and I hope you have a great day.